back to the start.
I want to choke. Maybe.
I was just guessing at numbers and figures, pulling the puzzles apart. Questions of science, science and progress did not speak as loud as my heart. Tell me you love me, come back and haunt me. Oh, when I rush to the start, running in circles, chasing tails, coming back as we are. Nobody said it was easy. Oh, it's such a shame for us to part. Nobody said it was easy. No one ever said it would be so hard. I'm going back to the start.
Alright, here's your answer. You could have done it differently.
Because it's not moving. Oh. What? Bro.
That's pretty cool.
Okay, that makes sense to me.
No, it makes no sense.
How fast is he passing the code?
Because
Anybody
it's
want to
going-
explain this
because
graph and why it makes sense?
It's going cards per person, so then at 3 seconds they all get 1 card per person.
Decima, I love your new spot. So, at 0 seconds, you might say that one person have 1 card. So what gives, right? Well, what they're saying is that until everybody has 1 card, everybody has 0 cards. It's how they're interpreting it. Again, you could have interpreted it differently. I bet you did, right? So 0 cards for everybody until 3 seconds when everybody has 1 card. So it jumps up, right? And then for 3 more seconds while they're dealing the second round of cards, everybody has 1 card until everybody has 2 cards. And then everybody has 2 cards until they have 3 cards. That's one way of interpreting it. Anybody else have a different way of interpreting it?
Oh.
Nope.
I have a question for you.
What?
I was told Isaiah Blaisdell sits in this row. So,
I'm not sure. I don't remember.
Are you comparing him to me?
No, definitely not.
Whoa, who is it? New people and free. Good noodles. His jokes are asking the question you already
Grace
know.
and
I wanna be a good
Who's
noodle.
McLovin?
Am I a good
That is the
noodle?
question. Who is McLovin?
Oh, dude, I know McLovin.
Justice, who is McLovin? He's in our-
Just McLovin, dude.
McLovin's in our
McLovin.
chem class.
Just-
McLovin's a legend.
Just McLovin.
Any other ways of interpreting this? Any other graphs?
No.
Maybe some of you guys said 1 card right off the bat. right? Because at 0 seconds, basically, he had dealt, right? And everything's up just a step. That could be it. Here's my interpretation. See if you can understand what it means. Let's get rid of this guy. You guys are the last class of the day, so I can finally close this tab.
We are.
Wonderful. Good album by, what is it? What's the band? My Morning Jacket.
Anybody else see an eyeball with a hash?
Say, yeah, I got it.
Is that Jacksepticeye? Justice, you're not fun.
Shut up, Kate.
You're a simp.
You're calling a sim?
It was
Justice, you're a bot.
Explain. Why is this a valid answer?
Don't fall into class offer.
I don't want, it's working for me, so, right?
Explain.
It says predetermined that each person got 3 cards, so they all have.
That's one way of thinking of it, I suppose, right? However, over time, they did not already have the same amount of cards, right? This is saying that the hand size doesn't change over time, basically, right? It's always the same. But that's not what we saw, right? I'm going to tell you this is a valid way of interpreting the question, though.
Wow.
Riddle me this.
Are you afraid of the size of the hand as there's more cards in it?
I'm sorry?
Yeah, okay.
Are you
At first,
referring to
I thought you meant from like a baby hand to
different
like
sizes of the hand as more cards get put into
Yeah, Sloffer got it. That's the joke, right? I'm saying the hand size never did change. Their hands were always the same size.
Can I get a dash mark next to my name?
Yeah,
we'll
do
A
like
dash
a
mark?
dash mark. Yeah, that's a good idea.
So Flowers the best noodle so far?
All right, so nice job.
I don't understand.
That's my joke.
And then Justice is just a wet, soggy noodle.
First soggy biscuit.
Alright.
Justice, you're a soggy noodle.
All right,
And then just be a noodle.
A
I
wet
feel like-
soggy
got him.
Bad English word.
Just ask tomorrow.
I'm the second
I
person
didn't
to have a
even
dash.
What?
I'm just tuned into that. Way too late there.
What is this?
They're dumb.
That's my favorite animal. Yeah, your dad is like
Horses.
And you live with a pig.
Oh.
Oh! You live with a pig and you hate elephants.
Someone's calling me. Yeah, like pigs. That's it.
Nothing wrong with pigs. Pigs are like the fourth smartest animal on the planet.
They make
I want
bacon.
answers.
Explain the joke, McKenna.
I don't know. She's my buddy.
I'd rather
No,
know.
you are really getting on my nerves.
She didn't get
Oh,
the
I
joke.
bet I am.
Yeah, you
Wasn't
are
even listening.
All right, here we go. How do you solve a problem like Maria?
I don't know.
You don't, Maria's dead.
No, she's not.
He wants to move to
Okay.
Greece.
Why would I want to go to Erie with a bunch of friends?
You're an idiot.
Yikes.
Met your girlfriend at the family reunion.
Mike, can I have a seat? You're doing such a good idea.
Aha, you're so funny.
All right, so
Wait, your cousin at the fair?
we get it. We get it. Stereotypical jokes about like people meeting their cousin at a wedding. But like, why is that funny given the context?
What is that?
I mean, we're
Like-
not inbred in Morrison. We don't care.
Like, I don't get it.
We're not inbred in Morrison, we're just adults.
All I want is funnier jokes. Is that much to ask? Seriously, either shut up or get funnier.
They don't know how to do
I really do actually laugh at jokes a lot. I've done it in other classes. You have seen me laugh before. Schlaffer has made me laugh.
You laugh at Squidward.
It's not that hard.
Mr. Mack, I need to be moved with Alex and Dane.
Yeah, I think that does need to happen. But anyway, yeah, please, 6th hour, you are my least funniest class. You really are. But you talk the most. So it's like somebody that gets lots of at-bats but strikes out every time.
Why you crap on us all
I mean, if you want to give me duct tape, I'll kill 2 birds with one stone.
That's not what I'm asking. That's not what I'm asking.
Just a picture.
All right, so the blue here, this angle refers to this right here. And let's do this one in red. That's what they're referring to. Those angles there, and there. How do we solve a problem like Maria? Well, first off, there's a lot of junk here. Now, if I found the relationship between the orange and the red, that might be a true relationship, but it would not be useful, right? Let's pretend they're equal. They aren't, right? But if I knew they were equal, 6x minus 14 equals y plus 8, I wouldn't be able to solve for x or y. There's 2 variables there, right? So who cares about that right now? What we really need to find out is the relationship between the blue and the orange. And maybe you see it, maybe you don't, right? but you should be trying to find out how they're related. Do they equal each other? Do they equal some other number? What's going on here, right? Does anybody see the relationship between the blue and the orange? If you don't see it yet, I think you will once we point it out. Go ahead. They're supplementary. Now, how do you know they're supplementary? Exactly. So if you ignore this, right, because the tendency is going to be for you to see, ooh, triangle, right? Right? Ignore that. Think two parallel lines being cut by a transversal. Again, it helps if you extend the parallel lines out so you can start thinking of it as that type of problem, right? Same thing if you extend the transversal. So we have two parallel lines being cut by a transversal. That means the angles are going to be, the corresponding angles are going to be congruent. But you might notice that, look, these guys are on the same line. So they're a linear pair. And linear pair theorem says that if they're a linear pair, which they are, then they must sum up to 180, right? They must be supplementary. So I know that 3x plus 5 plus 6x minus 14 equals 180. And I found the relationship between the blue and the orange angles. The relationship is they are supplementary. So, terrible idea in math, or terrible idea in real life, great idea in math, we're going to get our x's together. 3x and 6x are already on the same side, so how many x's is that? 9. 5 and negative 14 is minus 9 equals 180. There's two ways to solve this problem. Which way would you do? Give me one way. How's it
Divide
go?
them all by 9.
Divide everything by 9. Ah, my
Knows
students.
what I'm talking about.
Wonderful. Right, well, the one way is to add 9 and then divide by 9, but if we can divide, I'd rather do that first because it makes numbers smaller, and I like small numbers, right? So I'm going to divide everything by 9. Remember, division is divorce, so everything gets divided. That 9x becomes regular x, right? And negative 9 becomes minus 1.
Are you supposed to label these like proofs?
No. 180 divided by 9, well, it's going to be 20 because 18 divided by 9 is 2. And 180 is just 10 times that, right?
And how ironic what you can do here.
So x equals 19.
Good try. 21. Other way.
Good try.
Blackjack. All right, so x is 21. Taking that information now, we can plug it back into the problem. I'm going to plug it back into the blue angle. It says 3 times x plus 5. Well, x is 21. So what's 3 times 21? 63, right? Remember to times the 20 and the 1, right? And then we add 5 and we get 68, which is 1 degree short of something funny, right? The orange on the other hand is supplementary. So I don't need to plug that in and do the math, right? I can just know that if they're supplementary, whatever's left over should be here, right? So what's 180 minus 60?
120.
Very good. Now subtract 8 more.
120.
So 112 is what this is. And that checks out. 21 times 6 minus 14 is 112. It's 126 minus 14, 112. Okay.
Oh.
Now, how do we figure out what y is?
Add
It's
it
the
to.
same thing as 3.
Caden.
Well, the top angle is 68 degrees and it's off. I don't remember what it is, but it means they're going to be the same.
Corresponding angles, right?
Yes.
We have two intersections here. One intersection, two intersections. Top right of this intersection is going to be congruent to that intersection.
Yes.
So y plus 8 is going to be 68, which makes for some easy calculation. If we subtract 8 from both sides, we get that y is going to equal 60.
That's quick math.
Easy peasy lemon squeezy.
Let's check out number 2.
Ain't this interesting?
The first thing you're going to look at is going like, oh, look, trapezoid, right? Or maybe rectangle and triangle, right? But if we extend
It's the same.
these parallels out, maybe it'll be easier to figure out what's going on. Andrew, what do you have to say?
It's linear.
Linear pair? These two angles? Absolutely.
5x and the 9y are supplementary. You can add 180 and they're linear.
That's right. So they're a linear pair because they're both sitting on the same line,
Man
right?
just activated takeover.
So they're going to be a linear pair, right? Which means they're supplementary. Now, this is a true statement, but as of right now, it's not a helpful statement because why?
Those two are
Now, saying,
Make you cry worse than even.
so Andrew saying that it's equal to 180 is helpful, but it's not helpful yet because we have x and y in the same equation, which is no good. So Schlaffer, how are we going to get rid of one of the x's or the y's to actually make this useful? Nope.
Like Travis.
Nope. We can't do anything here to solve for x or y because we have two variables. We need to get rid of one of them. May, what do you notice?
5x equals to 9 because it's
So this is what May is saying. She's saying, look, we have an intersection over here, and we know that's 90, right? So this angle right here corresponds to this angle over here. So the blue and the red correspond. because they're both top left corners of their intersections. We have two parallel lines cut by a transversal, right?
Affirmative.
So by cap, these are congruent. So we know that 5x equals 90. So I can plug that in over here if I want. Instead of 5x, I can just write 90 plus 9y equals 180.
So now we've got a perfect problem.
Because we know 5x is the same thing as 90.
So here could you?
So now I know 9y equals 90, and that means y equals 10. You could have also just solved for x first, right? 5x equals 90. We could have written that out. That's another true statement. How many times does x go into 90? Better question, how many times does x go into 100?
500.
20 times, right? 5 goes into 20, or goes into 100 20 times, right? Well, 90 is 2 groups of 5 less than 100, right? So it's going to go, instead of 20 times, it's going to go into 18 times.
Boom.
5 goes into 120 times, so it's going to go into 18, right?
I'm pretty sure this man could outmath Dennis Weston.
Yeah, you make calculator.
Next one.
Matt showed us. Dennis the Menace versus Mac Attack.
I have no idea what you're saying.
Oh, you know
That'd be
we've
great.
done this before.
Greatest duel ever.
Oh. Math attack. Math equation.
Go have a problem with blood sugar.
Dennis, this is benching skills.
This one,
Not even.
Dennis uses yardstick.
Oh my god.
Three of them over.
And then he has this
I have my own yardsticks.
Dennis the Menace.
All right, how do you solve a problem like Maria? I want you to work together.
Maria's Dennis.
Hey,
but
Cindy.
what?
Life is not about what you do, it's what?
Who you
Who you do it with. Find someone to work with. If they don't know what's going on, find someone who does. Explain it to them. Solve for x and y.
You know what? We're gonna relay with you. I'm gonna slap. I'll jump on you. I'll dive on you. I'll start. Okay.
Looks like good.
I'll go around and see how you're doing.
I'll discount your 500.
Oh my
How we
god,
doing?
no, that's really mean.
Saturday, you started. Get going.
Matt, bro. Okay.
Alright, so first one, I would extend the parallels, and then I pick one of those lines to extend as well to make it transversal. I
Why is the mouse there?
This bad.
The whole idea is you want to just one side, so we're just looking at one transversal.
Laugh like that.
So I try to make a problem.
This sounds like a circle.
How are those two angles related?
Okay, Lori.
He's a big man. That's so funny.
And if I did, I'd sense.
Hey.
Bro, you guys good?
Are you sure this problem's doable? There's no deal.
It is definitely doable.
Oh, wait
That's a great underrated Disney film, though.
There's no given.
Wait a minute. Who are you?
Mario, please.
And the same for the other side, right?
You do it right.
Yeah, you do.
No, you don't.
Go ahead then.
Let's see just a minute here. Oh, yeah. My name is Dennis.
Uh-oh, Mac, I think I know who.
Probably.
Mr. Mac, this problem is.
Uh-oh. Stinky.
No, I don't. Oh, I see.
So, what I like to do is try to find all the transversal intersections. So, first off, here's two parallel lines.
Good news in the
And this line's intersecting. If I extend this out.
What's 40 divided by 14?
Why am I boxing my...
40 divided by 14.
So it looks like it's a problem. That's a lot. Okay, two parallel lines.
You have a calculator on your phone.
No, I don't. I deleted it.
I used my phone.
Okay, so that angle right there corresponds with this angle.
750 divided by 336 plus 432 Kelvin divided by 300. Hey, hey, focus.
Do we have to do number 4?
Hey.
So that right here.
The answer.
8x plus 4 sheet.
No, let's use
Does that mean it'll be plus 6 now? Oh, well, it doesn't really matter, so.
You
These are major guys.
Oh, wait a minute.
Big Mac.
I don't think that.
Yeah, I know, but like, you don't ever are we better than what we were last week? Or
This problem is undoable.
Yeah.
So yeah, 200.
Sorry about that. You know why?
So you'll just work on it.
So you're gonna get this one and get back on track here?
Hey, who's that?
Yeah. I don't know. We'll have to check out later. Where be your partner?
I ain't got a partner.
Well, find one.
I work on my lonely.
Yeah.
Oh!
That's true, but that's not gonna help you out, right? Because then we have a bunch of x's plus y, and you see that's not gonna help.
Problem is
That's not helpful.
undoable.
What you do is you break it down.
This,
My head.
I get it, what you, like, you understand that?
this and this would be
What is your supplementary?
Prove it. Like, show me why that would be. Like, you have a good conjecture?
then that's right.
Oh, wait,
No,
this
it
is
doesn't have to be
right.
that way. I can start to take it, not like that, right?
Here.
You don't know that. Not yet. Not yet, at least.
Have I done that right so far?
No, because this equals 10, it goes down here.
Five.
Straight line.
Oh, don't flop it.
That's a hard
line.
I'm a dumb.
So we should have corresponding.
I got the answer right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, write it down. Write it down.
Say it.
This one right here is that.
Dang, listen. Man, bro, I can hear that whistle between your teeth from space.
Although, yeah, 10 to both sides.
Dude, you know what? Hey, ready, watch me.
Oh, I.
Yeah, we both.
Hey, yo, JD.
Yeah.
Yo, JD, it's you, bro.
I think we did everything.
Oh my god.
I think all the time.
Oh! God.
Hey, no need to screen yet.
Oh my God, I did that
Whatever.
here.
Drug dealer.
Yeah. I didn't even have my book.
Did that just go away?
Well, it's -1.
So,
Think about it.
Have you ever heard of this Bob?
No, I had to write it. She wouldn't even let me plug in my book.
Hey, JD. Remember back in the day when we used to watch Grandma's Cookies on YouTube singing the lyrics to Oh no, it was Grandma's Kisses, not Cookies.
I totally forgot about that.
She the lady who comes and says, these are gonna be the tits.
Sloth, remember when we used to watch that thing when we were mad at it?
Grandma's
Kisses. The reason is because these things.
Jacob, come on, pencil.
I only have this one.
I don't want to go to chemistry.
Wait,
I
you
do
said
not.
really, you said really thin handwriting. I saw.
Kobe.
Another long time.
No, it's allowed.
What the hell?
It
What
is
was that
so
for?
sad.
Okay, Graham, you need to calm your voices.
Okay, so we
Not
said
everyone's
that
as.
this is
I
this is a
know. Stick your hands.
Thank you. Sit down.
Oh, sorry, I was
You're
doing
doing so great.
I was
All right.
doing
So notice we have two parallel lines.
Why is there a mouse on here?
No, I'm nowhere. I got nowhere. So I still don't know. I can't figure out
You're
what's
telling me 6x plus 8x equals 40?
How about you?
Calm down. Think about what you're doing. Take your time. Stop it later. You just broke my hand. 40. I got distracted. Don't get distracted.
Oh, bro. And the street.
Am I the only one that's called it a mop, or is that a thing that's
No,
kind
I
of...
called it
Okay,
a
good.
I
mop.
fell out of my pocket when I was riding my
I think it looks like
Justin,
the
you don't have a
changeable ones.
tractor.
You know the changeable ones you
Justin,
that
you don't have
That's
a
right.
tractor.
Yeah, I do.
All right, here we go. So here's what you should have done, or at least what I did. Left side, just focusing on that. Do we have two parallels cut by a transversal? Yes, we do, which means corresponding angles will be congruent. So corresponding angles, like this guy and this guy correspond, right? So they'll be congruent. So if that's 6x, that is 6x, and that tells us that these two will be a linear pair. Yes.
Could you also go to the big erasers?
Yes, I can.
Big eraser for big mistakes.
Oh my god.
Sorry, Housingate, I just see your face and I have to.
You've been watching Ross.
You're like a magnet for these things. All right. So 6x plus, let's do this one in orange. 8x plus 40.
blue and orange.
That's right. It's going to equal 180. Bears are brown. 6 and 8. If you don't know what 6 and 8 is added together, think of it as 6 plus 6 plus 2.
14.
Yeah, 12 plus 2 is 14.
Sydney has the they're not going away.
What do you want to do now? We can divide everything by 2 and make it smaller. Well, let's just subtract 40.
Yeah, that's the more simple way of doing it.
And then we divide by 14 and we get 10.
I'll go to 40.
So x is 10. That means this angle down here is 60. And this angle over here is going to be 80 plus 40, which is 120. And of course it is, because they should be supplementary, right? That's what we said earlier. So they are. Now you might think, oh, look, if that's 60, then that's going to be 60 over here. But you'd be wrong. These lines are not parallel, are they?
No.
No. You assume they are because they look like they are, but they aren't. And I'm going to prove it to you, okay? So over here, the same dumb logic applies. So if I extend this out, I know that this angle down here, which I'll do in this color blue, should be the same as this here. So that's 3y minus 10. So that tells me 3y minus 10 and 7y should add up to 180.
That's some quick draw right there.
Thank you. 3y and 7y on the same side. How many y's is that?
10.
10y minus 10 equals 180. We could divide everything by 10. You want to do it?
That's what I did.
Or you could add 10 and divide by 10. That's fine. I'm going to divide everything by 10 and get this. 19. Because we add when we add it, it's a negative. The second time you made that mistake, buddy. Which is fine, but know thyself. Now you know that's your tendency, so look out for that, okay? So y is 19. Number 4.
I like the cursor.
There's no way 7 times.
Now,
That's 133.
true statement. Angle x is this, first off.
This cursor.
True statement. All those three angles are going to add up to 180 because they're collinear, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Is it a helpful statement? No, because we have 3 variables in one equation now, right?
That's not gonna work.
So what we need to do is we need to figure out the relationship between y minus 18 and y plus 12. If we can figure out their relationship, we can solve for y, and then we can start solving other things.
William.
Haley, what do you see?
So I don't know if I'm wrong or not.
That's okay.
90 degree angle would have be y minus 18 plus.
So check it out. Haley is saying if this is 90, then the blue and the orange should also add up to 90. And the reason she knows this is this, okay? See this intersection?
Correct.
Parallel lines being cut by a transversal. Ignore the diagonal one, okay?
Share the line.
So top left corner should be the same as top left corner. So we just found out x is 90. And then she knows by a linear pair, or I should say angle addition possible, then linear pair, that this bit over here should add with this to make 180, right? They form a straight angle. So the blue and the orange together make 90. Now again, is that a useful statement? It's true, but is it useful? Wrong. No, because we have 2 variables. Not wrong. So we do know that the blue and the orange should add up to 90. That's true. But we have a y and a z there, which is not going to help us, right? So we need to find the connection between the blue and the orange still. But we did get x for free. Good job.
Why is there a mouse?
Oops. Yeah.
So, if you take, okay, so where the X is at, and then you take out that line underneath that, and then just leave the 10 would that be y plus 12?
You're saying this right here should be y plus 12?
Yeah, like that whole angle.
Gotcha. So yeah, these two are going to be corresponding. You're right. That is y plus 12. It's not going to be super helpful.
Y plus 12.
Actually, it could be, because you could do y plus 12 plus y plus minus 18 is going to equal what? 180. So check it out. She said linear. These guys are corresponding, right? Now another way to do that would be to say that this and this correspond. It's going to get you the same dumb crap, right?
Yeah.
One might be easier to see than the other. Again, ignore this horizontal line down here. We have two parallels cut by a transversal. So corresponding angles will be equal. So we know that y plus 12, well done, Haley, plus y minus 18 equals 180. Solve. Rest of it's on your own. Go ahead.
What?
Wait a minute. See, put you wise to do. I got my
You're telling me y is 90 degrees.
Haley, look at it.
Hey.
She
Yeah, well, guess
is a
what,
good
Haley? You don't have
I
to ask.
have a question about
Yes.
But she has
Since you put your
her
wise,
last
you divide all
name.
this by 80.
Yeah, you can always do that. Yeah. Now you can always divide it by anything.
Yeah.
Will it be useful? Will it come out nicely? Here it would come out nicely. It would save you some work, right? Giacomo, you are understanding algebra for the first time ever. The freedom of not having to worry about PEMDAS.
Yes.
It's because he's sitting in the front now.
Yes.
It's a great seat for him.
You have beef with PEMDAS?
PEMDAS? Yes, I do.
What's the beef?
Because PEMDAS, while it is a useful tool, is taught like it is like the law. And it's not. It's really not. It's just a suggestion. There's certain things that have to be done in a certain order, but mostly it's just parentheses and exponents.
Okay, so
I got y equals 93.
That's like the theme song. You have 3 tubas, and 2 of which are former flute players. Well, why would you do that? That's a terrible idea.
It's a great idea. Handle land.
we have 2 tubas, one of which is a flute.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Handle land.
I got y equals 93.
I got y equals 98.
Where
Right, man.
to put 2 squares in one?
She really did. I was not expecting
Can my answer be negative?
Your variables can be negative, but your angle measures can't be. So after you plug them back in, make sure they're not negative. These should not be negative. It could be. I don't know.
Well, 93 minus 18.
Dude, Rockfall's the most ghetto. Rockfall's the most ghetto place around.
No.
No, it's not. You're stupid, Justice. It's not. You're dumb. The most ghetto place
Rest of that is for your homework. The next one, number 5, will also be for your homework. Let's just clarify what this says.
not 2 hours.
All right, so number 5, the last one, which was not numbered, I suppose, but the last page, page 3, tells us that X and M are going to be parallel. So I'm going to mark that down. X and M are parallel. So here's X here.
This thing looks like the human nervous system.
Parallel to this.
Ah! So funny.
Put your titties in a bunch.
Oh my gosh. All right.
What are you talking about, Justin?
This is classic high schooler. You can't make good jokes, so what you do is you resort to profanity, right?
Yeah, Justin,
Still not funny.
I don't have any to give it to us.
Y and Z are also parallel.
Okay, they got me.
Yeah, no profanity.
All right. What's your profanity? All right. Angle 2 is 58.
Mac, I got a question. Who's your favorite comedian?
My favorite comedian? Probably a tie between Chappelle and Robin Williams. But I think Chappelle is probably the greatest of all time.
That kind. Okay.
Have you seen Robin Williams stand up? Like, are you trying to imply like clean only? Because both Chappelle and Robin Williams are pretty profane. Okay, well, Robin Williams is definitely not clean. Chappelle, you need to watch. That would help you.
Was amazing.
You need to see Chappelle.
I'm
Chappelle's
more of a
amazing.
Bert Kreischer kind of guy.
Gotcha.
I'm more of a Bert Kreischer kind of guy.
Gotcha. Mulvaney isn't bad.
Oh, Gabriel Iglesias.
Is awful. Do not watch that. Dear God.
The last time I watched him,
The epitome of high school humor.
the last time I watched him, he was talking about how he went and smoked a blunt with Snoop Dogg. Him and his son went and smoked a blunt.
All right, so that's all the information that they give you on this.
Don't go away yet.
Be careful, right? Not everything is parallel. So you need to think about which angles correspond with what. You can't just be like, oh, top right corner, right? Did I goof?
Gilbert Godfrey.
Oh, 13, my bad.
Sydney.
13's here. Yeah, my bad. I got addicted to all the ones.
A little bit more acute. 115.
Oh, you're talking about the new
Gotcha.
How many darts did you smoke today?
Try that on your own.
Deborah.
Yes. Yes, I can.
Back now, you have to put the postulate with your.
No, we don't need to do that.
Okay. Well, we got it at 75. You know that. That's not easy.
I'm gonna name my child Goob.
Goob.
Like the kid from Meet the Robinson.
It's an underrated Disney film, and I'm glad you know about it.
Yeah. Peanut butter and jelly machine.
I have Meet the Robinsons because it was my movie of the year. I wanted to watch that.
What are you talking about? Oh, that was what you were talking about earlier. We laughed at earlier.
Oh, they did.